All right, different marketing channels and basic concepts. So, last video that you saw, we talked about inbound versus outbound, digital versus traditional. We'll go a brief description of the basic channels and their advantages. Have more than one because you need a grand strategy. So, generally speaking, websites. They capture lead information. They're the most effective lead conversion tool in my experience. They work for all industries: real estate, e-commerce, restaurants, construction. I'm a real estate investor, so that's what I use it for. Kind House Buyers is a friend of mine, Keith Sant. He's out in Texas and Washington. But overall, this is a carrot site, and what's designed to do is capture lead information from inbound traffic. So websites, as you can see here, this is the strengths of a website. It's a long-term asset. There's organic growth over time. There's a high rate of return. It's also passive once it's up and running. Think of like a tree in the backyard where it takes first couple of years is vulnerable, but once it establishes good roots and it starts to grow, it becomes evergreen. It can produce fruit almost all year round, or in this case, all year round with a moderate amount of maintenance. Now, the weaknesses of a website does take time to build. There's some effort in there. There's money needed for construction and maintenance. There's additional marketing that's needed to advertise the actual website. So it is a weakness. Everything has some kind of a weakness. Now, the opportunities are that you can become an authority in your market, build trust and credibility, and you can buy directly from home sellers at a better price because there's no intermediaries and there's no agents. Now, especially if you buy from wholesalers, which is something that I do as well, there's going to be a markup there. So sometimes I'm paying $10,000, $20,000 assignment fees. The advantage of going directly to the seller is I can buy at a better margin. So now the risk is, yes, you're risking money whenever you build a website, because building a website doesn't necessarily mean that you're going to buy a house. It just means that you're building a website. So you're taking a little bit of risk in the expectation of gaining a profit later down the road. So now the other thing to advertise your website, you can look at PPC. PPC means pay per click. So these are paid ads. Keep in mind that the difference between PPC and direct mail is direct mail. You have to pay, let's say, $1.50 or $1 every time you send a piece out, whether or not the owner of the house ever actually sees that piece. You're just paying to send it out. With paid ads, you're only paying when they click on your ad based on the keywords that you bid on. So you only pay for engagement, pay per click. You have to pay to display your ad with mails, billboards, and all that in magazines. But advertisers, people that are looking for your services, that you only pay when they click on your ad, when they engage on your ad. So that's one of the greatest strengths of paid search. Now, there's going to be a separate module on PPC. I'm going to, because I have a PPC module, and I will leave a link to that module in the description of this video. Okay, PPC SWOT, it's highly agile, it's very fast, it's easy to track. You get higher conversion rates than you would with direct mail or any of the driving for dollars or anything like that. It can be used with or without a website. You can actually use paid ads and have the paid search vendor just create a landing page for you. So you technically don't need a website to do paid ads. I use paid ads, PPC, to advertise my website, but technically you don't need a website for paid ads. The weakness is it can be expensive and you can burn through budget pretty quick if you don't have the campaign properly optimized, and that does take some experience. I will go over that in the module that I just talked about. Now, the opportunities, you can stack it with SEO. You can penetrate multiple markets. So, for example, I'm here in Raleigh. I'm currently running a paid PPC campaign in Fayetteville because I want more houses in Fayetteville. Places like Sanford, I can turn these campaigns on. I could turn a campaign on in South Carolina if I wanted to, and then just either build a new website. I could build a page on my existing site, but I could start getting leads in any market in the country within a couple of days just by turning on a PPC paid search campaign. So it's very agile. It also is competitive. So it's competitive. There are rising costs per click. That's what CPC means, costs. And it can be difficult and challenging to find good management. So that's one of the threats there. Now, SEO. This is an example of a search engine result page that I did for my phone. That's my website right there. We Buy Houses, Raleigh, NC Fast. Search engine optimization, also known as SEO. You're optimizing content on your website to rank higher in the Google search engine index. Now, there's something called on-page and off-page. Off-page is pointers and basically pointers and links, and I'm going to get to that in a separate module, which I have not created yet. But think of search engine like you're building links pointing back to your website. Picture if you go to a RIA meeting, and let's just say you're a wholesaler and you go to your local RIA and you say, hey, I'm a wholesaler, who's the biggest buyer in the room? And the person at the front door points to somebody. That's like a link. It's a pointer saying, see so-and-so over there, they buy from wholesalers, they're a cash buyer. Think of that concept and remember it for future modules. Now, the on-page optimization is more or less, how the search engines read what it is that you do. Are you buying houses for cash? Are you a real estate agent? Are you an appraiser? You need to keep that stuff in mind. So, and we'll get to that in a separate module. But it does advertise your services to those that are looking for it. And my experience with SEO is that people that come to me via SEO have much more purchase intent. They want someone that has high credibility, high authority, and is also trustworthy. So the margins on those deals are much better, the much better quality leads. So best conversion rate, that's its strength. You can do national, local with InvestorCare. It does have the best key performance indicators. When I've run cost per lead, cost per deal, it's always been the best on SEO in my experience. The weaknesses are you don't have direct control over your rankings. So, it could be a long term, it could take 6 months, it could take a year to rank for relevant search terms in your market. There's really no guarantee of return on investment. It is getting more and more competitive. The other thing you have to figure out is whether or not you're going to do it yourself or you're going to outsource that. We'll talk about that more later. It can be stacked with your paid search campaign. It can be stacked very well with a paid search campaign. Also with your social media, it does lend credibility and authority to your website and your local presence. The threats are the very frequent algorithm updates released by Google, which can change rankings, and this is happening 3 or 4 times a year. So the rewards are very high with SEO, but the barrier to entry, there's a significant barrier to entry there, but in my experience, it has been worth it. Bandit signs are another great way. These are the signs you see on the side of the road, and you can see by the photos there. They can be placed on properties that you own. So if you just bought a house and you're rehabbing it, you can put a sign on the lawn saying, hey, we buy houses just like this. Agents use signage as well, so it's a well-established way to do it. Now, bandit means the ones that are on the road that technically violate city ordinance that aren't supposed to be there. Now, I have to tell you, with bandit signs, almost every city has ordinances against them. So if you're putting them out on the side of the road, you're technically violating city ordinance. You can be liable to be fined for stopping at the side of the road. The other thing you need to take in consideration, if you're putting out bandit signs yourself and you get into an accident, your insurance company might not cover you. So just keep that stuff in mind. It's, you can get these signs at $1 each. They are cost effective, but like anything else, there's some risk there. So, they're affordable, easy to abstain and distribute. You can get calls right away. Generally speaking, it's a lower conversion rate. City ordinances are in place telling you not to do this. They can be forcibly removed. Some city officials will take them down, but you can get them quick start, fines from the city, insurance issues if you're ever involved in an accident. You need to take that stuff into consideration. Direct mail, postcards, letters, fake checks are those. It says I'm offering you X amount, and it looks like a check that you sign. You can get creative with the direct mail. Now, you can send a direct mail piece to the owner of record. For a given house. So if you see a subdivision of houses that you really want to buy because they fit your buy box, that's one of the advantages of direct mail is you can send it directly to a house that you want to buy. You can use them in conjunction with lists. Basically, you buy a list given properties given a certain criteria and maybe some motivation and distress signals, property location, so on and so forth. So some investors will stack this with other strategies. So the strengths, you can target your specific houses, specific criteria. You can leverage your digital to organize and execute. And really what that means is, there's AI texting software. So some people will send out postcards saying, hey, you want a free offer? You want a cash offer in your house? Text this number. And it's actually AI that does it for you. So it can be stacked with other strategies. It's a form of interruptive marketing, lower conversion rates. You're going to get some unwanted calls, and it's a pay-per-impression model, whereas you got to pay, if it's 50 cents or $1, you got to pay for $1 for every piece that you send out. There's no guarantee that the owner of that property will ever see it. You can use data platforms such as Open Letter Marketing, REI Sift to target specific criteria, list stacking. So there is some opportunities in there. But like anything else, a lot of times I bought lots of lists from a lot of different companies. Sometimes the data isn't good. It's bad data. The phone numbers are wrong. The addresses are wrong. It bounces back. And it seems like the feedback I'm getting from other investors around the country is that the response rates are in decline. Driving dollars is another way. Invest for more. That's Mark Ferguson. He has a great blog. But this is used from his site, and that's the citation that this graphic is used from investformore.com. You're driving around looking for distressed or vacant properties. You're capturing the address in an app or on paper. You're locating the owner and you're contacting via mail, call or text, or knocking on the door. Some of the software that can be used to leverage these platforms is Deal Machine. My buddy David Lecko owns that company, so you can use digital platforms to leverage this strategy, but it's going to involve either you driving out there and looking for these properties, or with some of the apps you can teach you how to train people to go out there and drive on your behalf. So that is another strategy. The strengths there is you can target those specific areas. You get to see the house prior to making contact. It can be a little time consuming, especially driving around to build momentum. Difficult to gauge the competition because you can't see how many other people are out there driving for dollars. Whereas with websites, you can see what your competition, who they are, what they're doing, because it's all right there on their website. Opportunities that can be delegated, like with Deal Machine. I would say that the biggest thing about driving for dollars is it's time consuming. That would be my opinion. Social media, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. I do have separate profiles for my home buying business. And I also, me personally, I do post my before and afters, and I post the fact that I'm an actual buyer for houses. This has led real estate agents to bring me deals. It's also led wholesalers to bring me deals. So I have not had a lot of motivated sellers contact me from social media, but if you're out there looking at properties, if you're actually buying properties and you're walking them, you might as well take photos and record video while you're there anyway and just upload it to social media. That's what I do. Keep in mind that when you're making these videos, you want to take into consideration who your target market is. So for example, for this type of a video, my target market is real estate investors wanting to learn how to invest in real estate. This video right here is not meant for motivated sellers. It's a separate audience. So just take into consideration, are you marketing to agents that are going to bring you deals? Are you marketing to wholesalers that are going to bring you deals? I mean, they're pretty similar, but just keep in mind who you're actually looking for. So social media, it's free to use and post. You can reach outside your network. There is the viral potential there. Weaknesses, it's a large rabbit hole. You can easily spend so much time on social media. It's easy to get distracted, especially if you're ADD like me. It does take time to build momentum. I have not found that it's effective a tool for motivated sellers. There are some people out there. I think Tyler Ford is one of them. He's out in New Mexico. And he uses social media for motivated sellers, but he's also a broker. So he uses it as a hybrid strategy where he gets listing clients and he gets a certain amount of leads that come in from his YouTube and his social profiles. It's slightly different. And that's just been my experience. Now, the opportunities are you can use it to complement your other marketing, whether it's organic, driving referrals to C2505 hiking. That's a rehab I did based on a real estate agent that I had a previous relationship with that messaged me on Facebook and said, hey, I see your before and afters. I got a deal here. Now, that was actually a $50,000 flip that I bought, and that came to me through Facebook. Other thing is it's time consuming. Trolls, haters. You're going to have people say, hey, you buy houses, you rip people off. You're going to get that on social media. It is what it is. If your account gets hacked, there's risks and rewards with anything. So my advice is to use multiple channels, websites. I have a primary web buying website and I have another one in production. I do the SEO, I do the PPC, I do social media. I've gotten away from the bandit signs and away from the direct mail, but if you don't have a lot of money, you have to start somewhere. But I would say pick 2 or 3 of these channels and go out there, take action, get it done. Hopefully this video was helpful for you. Leave your comments, questions in the comment section. I will get back to you as soon as possible. Thanks, y'all.